Dragon Ball Super Dope Plus Ultra, whatever you're calling it. I don't know what I'm calling it. My name's Kyle. Thanks for checking this out. We're here today to talk about episode 166 of My Hero Academia from Aizawa. So, I said last week that I thought it was maybe one of my favorite standalone episodes of anime ever because it hit a lot of things for me. Crazy epic battle fight. Lots of excellent character cameos from characters that I love but haven't heard from in a minute. And also that really unique concept. Maybe it's not a unique concept, but it was executed uniquely, I think, visually, of the two characters' memories blending, and they're in this like unconscious realm, as All For One calls it in this episode that we're about to talk about. So I genuinely enjoyed it. This week, I don't think I enjoyed it as much as last week, but it's still up there. Every single episode of this season has been really amazing, which, you know, is fitting because this is the end, to quote The Doors and Jim Morrison. So we're going to talk about 166. If you hear Major League in the background, I talked about this on the Patreon pre-show, letting the boys know what's going on in my life. If you hear the movie Major League in the background, it's because me and Mike Norm, we got drunk and watched Major League last night, but apparently he blacked out somewhere in the middle and woke up feeling like he'd watched the best baseball game of his life last night and couldn't remember why until I was like, yeah, man, we watched that movie. It was sick. Remember Charlie Sheen, Wesley Snipes? He's like, yeah, oh yeah, but wait. And now he's watching it again in the other room. He doesn't like My Hero Academia. Otherwise, I try to trick him into doing this with me. But we're going to read 166 synopsis. I got to say, I've been complaining about these Wikipedia synopses for every single episode I've done so far. I got to say, this one is actually pretty well written and pretty dense. And this week, I only took one full page of notes. So I kind of expect this to be maybe a shorter episode, just because it's a little bit more concise with some of my thoughts. And this this stupid fucking synopsis for once actually does what it's supposed to do. So let me start. Episode 166 from Aizawa. Nana Shimura breaks down in tears over seeing Kotaro beating Tenko, realizing how much pain she has inadvertently caused her son over leaving him. She and Izuku are able to break through and intervene, Nana apologizing and fading away as the leaden soul, the leaden? What the fuck word is that? Leaden? Leaden. You tell me what word that is. I don't know. Leaden soul is finally destroyed. Nana apologizing and fading away as the leaden soul is finally destroyed, while Izuku witnesses the moment decay manifests within Tenko. So what's interesting to me about this sequence is Deku is de-aged to like the same age as Tenko after the barrier is broken. And he's like that little cute 4-year-old kid. His voice still kind of throws me off. This is one of those that I'm actually curious to watch in a dub format because I think that it'll register with me more when I hear dub Deku doing all these different phases of his life. Because there's a certain point in here where it's like, oh, you're a teenager Deku, like your fucking first year or whatever, your first part of the year. You got your schoolboy outfit on. And then he devolves to this child for this interaction with Tenko that he's about to have. And his voice is like somewhere in the middle. And as somebody who does not speak Japanese, I had a little bit of a tough time distinguishing what tone he was meant to have. And honestly, who was talking at certain points, whether it was Deku or Shigaraki. So, you know, as much as actually this dub is really good. I've watched at least 3 seasons of the first 3 seasons of this anime in the dub. It's really good. So I'm super curious to watch this one in the dub, although the Japanese voice acting is impressive, but, you know, not my native tongue. So I wish I could feel that way about the Dragon Ball dubs. Whatever, I won't go down that road. But yeah, it's weird, man, because like Nana Shimura and Deku, they break through that barrier. Nana Shimura is able to hug her son, Kotaro, as an adult. But like, does that register with him? She fades away immediately. Is it just like a closure moment for her and doesn't impact Kotaro? And if it doesn't impact Kotaro, does it not impact Shigaraki or young Tenko. It is kind of unclear in this first sequence, and I don't know if that's on purpose or if they were just like kind of flying by the seat of their pants. But what's interesting to me is what I thought last week was, what's Deku gonna do? Like, give this kid therapy? Make him feel like he fucking belongs and it's not his fault or whatever? Like, is he really gonna sap the will over this dude to do evil through that kind of shit? And yeah, kind of. They cycle through all the major bad memories that Tenko has had as a child, from his dad slapping him to him, Victor, I'm sorry, I hope your son's not in the car, to him, you know, melting his fucking dog into a pile of like bones and blood and sludge. I forgot how graphic that looked. It wasn't even very specifically graphic, you know? It's not like it's like you can see the bones. It's not like that. It's just like, yo, he turned that dog into fucking soup. And that's a soup I don't like. And I like most soups. Anyway, if it's not one bad memory, it's another. And Deku is about to speed run all of these bad memories. Because if it's not this one thing that turned you into a villain, it's the next fucking thing. And it has like this victimhood complex written all over Shigaraki's DNA, where it's like, I'm just looking for something to blame. Which is fascinating that I had this thought, and then the later revelation from One for All, or All for One, excuse me. I wish I could get that right just one fucking time. It makes the revelation from All for One a little bit more poignant when I thought about, you know, you're just looking for any excuse to make this be the thing that turns you evil. So I felt a little validated, but also a little depressed. Speaking of depressed, here is a very cool, I don't know, 15, 20, 25-second shot. Not even cool. Cool's probably the wrong adjective. Rooted in reality. So not a word, but a phrase. There is a very rooted in reality clip, or a couple of clips, of one dude just like standing on the street watching this fight happen on his phone. And he's like, yeah, wreck it all. Fuck him up, Shigaraki. Just fucking decay this entire goddamn world. And then it flashes to some other dude in his bedroom, just dark room, watching YouTube on his computer, watching live stream, and basically the same sentiments. And I was like, damn. This comes shortly after Shigaraki kind of has that moment that I spoke about last week, where I thought it was interesting that all of the first memories that intertwine with one another are the memories of each respective character, Deku and Shigaraki, being encouraged by their peers or their comrades, their followers. Followers is probably more appropriate for Shigaraki, not for Deku, but Shigaraki's fucking memories are Toga, Dabi, Spinner, all coming to him and being like, yeah, let's do this thing. Deku's is like all these memories of the USJ and protecting his friends and his friends protecting him and them working as a team. So for them to come back to the idea in this episode where it's about, for Shigaraki, who has inspired him to keep fighting and to keep going. And he has like that shot of like the void, and he's like on his knees, and there's the 5 people behind him who inspired him. Toga, Dabi, Spinner, fucking Warpgate, Kirigiri. Maybe he's there. I forget who the 5 are, but I know at least Spinner, Dabi, and Toga are there. For that to be the thing that he immediately falls back on to like give himself an excuse to continue to be this hating ass bitch, despite the fact that Deku just, I mean, I think I'm going to read it in the next, I'm going to read it in the next sentence. So let's get there. Oh, but also layering that with the incels, or the people who are depressed watching YouTube on the computer like I do every day. Except I don't hope for the fucking decay of the world. I just wish we'd all figure this shit out. Okay, what's the next sentence? Horrified. A now child Izuku steps in and grabs Tenko's hands, even has his own hands start to break apart. Tenko continues to try and reject him, saying it was his own choice to destroy and validate his own existence. But Izuku insists, telling him how much someone being there to reach out their hands to help him means to him. So, kind of the same idea here, right? He can't force therapy on the fucking kid in this unconscious realm, even though the kid very obviously needs therapy. But because he has this corporeal form, he's just like, I'm going to hold this kid's hand and let him know everything's okay. And what does that get him, Mike? Not butt stuff. No, it gets his fucking hands literally decayed off of his fucking arms. Exactly. You can't hold hands. So you kind of have that question of like, is that for real? Is that like his metaphysical hands? Is that his real hands? What's happening here? You do eventually get that answer, but this is I think a good example of a literal example of him, and he even does the smile too. So yeah, it's very much him having an All Might moment where he reaches out his hand, he squeezes the kid's hand, much like Koda did to Eerie in the last episode. He squeezes the kid's hand to let him know, hey, it's okay. And what does it get him? I'll tell you what it gets him. Gets his fucking hands to kid. It was again, it's like little kid Deku. So even that kind of brings it to a weird other level too, right? It's like it's not adult Deku in his weird, crazy Superman fucking final form where he has like all these a billion quirks and he's, you know, zipping around like nobody's business. It's a little kid with no arms anymore. The imagery of it, I think, just the imagery of that version they chose to use for this scene, amazing. What else did I write down for notes, you think? Shigaraki defeated in the unconscious realm. Oh, yeah. What's weird is that there's a Kotaro memory thrown in there a little bit, and neither Deku or Shigaraki know why they have this memory. And it is a hint of what's about to come, and what's about to come is all for one. Coming all over the place. Shigaraki is defeated in the unconscious realm because Deku's emotions basically overwhelm him and sap his will to continue to fight. They sap the hatred of him. And it lets All for One return somehow. And I do love when he first returns because he's like this super in the distance giant fucking Galactus figure who could just like eat the entire fucking plane that they're on. And all the voices that he's had, the original voice, the younger voices, there's like 3 or 4 different voices layered in as he's talking. And all the meanwhile, this scary shit's happening. And you look back at this little baby Deku and he has no arms. It's like, shit, I forgot. Not only is the worst villain of all time back, but shit, I got no arms. Let's see. Tenko finally gives in and lets go. However, turning back into Shigaraki, he declares that no matter if his hatred is stamped out, he's a villain meant to destroy and desires to be a hero for the villains. Yeah, basically what I had said. He exists not out of spite, but to continue to inspire the people who are inspired by him and have felt that he's given them those people have given him some level of validation in his evilness, which is nice because he was just ready to resign himself to it because of how fate played out and giving him this shitty fucking quirk. More on that later. Let's see. All for One then reveals to Shigaraki that he orchestrated his existence. Ooh, we're not getting to it later. We're getting to it now. From manipulating Kotaro to stealing his quirk as a baby to secretly giving him to Kei, an altered copy of Overhaul. Oh, I guess I don't think I caught that part while I was watching the episode. I did not realize it was an altered copy of Overhaul's quirk. That's interesting. Shigaraki is broken down by the revelation, while Izuku is expelled from the Vestige world. So I guess that means he's no longer officially tapped in to One for All, which means, bitch, you ain't got no quirks. In the real world, All for One laments Yoichi and All for One's destruction, declaring to proceed with hollow world domination. Yeah, so I thought he gave him the quirk back, but like I guess the quirk destroys itself by him giving it back. I'm not 100% sure what this is meant to mean. Did I write down anything interesting? No, but what I did write down was All for One. He encouraged his dad to knock up his mom for a second kid. He stripped the quirk's reversibility. So it had reversibility, meaning if Shigaraki's power is to decay, the reversibility would be what? To create or to grow? Is that meant to tie into Eerie's quirk, maybe? Probably not. But I guess it does tie into Overhaul's quirk, right? Although, what the fuck even is Overhaul's quirk? What the fuck am I even talking about? I don't think this Overhaul thing that they said in this Wikipedia entry is accurate. All right, so I should have done this while I was recording the episode, but I'll be real, dude. it's tough to run this thing solo and then talk and make sure you don't skip anything. And sometimes it just sucks to pause for long periods of time to look shit up. But I did look this up because I re-listened to this line and I'm like, wait a minute, doesn't he like make shit? Isn't that what Overhaul's quirk is? So I Googled it. And according to the AI overview, because we live in the fucking AI end times, Overhaul's quirk grants him the ability to disassemble and reassemble matter with his hands, allowing him to instantaneously destroy and reconstruct anything he touches, both living and non-living. So, this Wikipedia entry was accurate. Please excuse all my dumbass shit I said. And yeah, appreciate you. Either way, it does reference the fact that he talks Kataro into having his second kid. And the reason is like, heroes never show up. They're fucking bunch of bums. You need a sibling to watch their back. Fuck a superhero. You need a fucking little brother to watch your back. They have the baby. He strips the quirk and gives it a shittier quirk that he found. Strips the reversibility. The stripping the reversibility line really hit me because I'm like, oh shit, imagine if Shigaraki had the opposite power as well. He can decay whatever he wants, but also, what does he do? Accelerate the growth of things? Does he actually create mass? Like, I don't know what that would be, but just the idea that there is another side to his power that would have completely changed the trajectories of this kid's life and his overall mental makeup. Like, diabolical dick shrinking motherfucker, this All for One. You know what I mean? Also, I forgot where I was reading from. Give him the quirk. Oh, he hired those little kids to fucking be a dickhead to him. He's like, oh, I got two friends. Oh, wait, they're dickheads. Yeah, because some fucking asshole paid them to be. He pissed off Kataro into fucking wanting to hit his kid. All right, well, yeah, it's like three things, but I think I wrote them down like 5 different times. Oh, actually, what I wanted to say, and I wrote this in the margins, which is why I almost skipped over it, is, first of all, why tell Shigaraki any of this? And I get it. Villains, they monologue. And when they monologue, that's usually when you figure out how to punch them in the fucking throat. And hopefully they fucking die. But what's interesting to me is that so much of this episode, and All for One specifically, his dialogue, it's very psychology driven, and it's talking about the id and the superego and the inability of Shigaraki's superego to fucking sacrifice itself to become this ultimate better being, which is basically a being that is merged with All for One, and All for One can overtake his rightful vessel or whatever. The fucking irony of all this fucking psychobabble bullshit that's coming out of your goddamn mouth, your Galactus fucking sized mouth in the unconscious realm. First of all, shut the fuck up. You got a big ass mouth, bro. Why are you trying to act smart? You ain't that smart. And I'll tell you why. All the shit that you are talking about, you are literally fucking projecting right now. And this is how we're going to beat your ass. You want to talk about the superego. You want to talk about the id. I don't know dick about psychology. I know a little bit, but like not really anything. But like, I know enough to know that this is meant to be a very blatant display of arrogance, irony. What's the other word? What's that thing that you say? Oxymoron. That's not what it is. An oxymoron's like words or whatever. This dumb motherfucker is literally monologuing and giving away the entire thing that he's done. Meanwhile, it's because of his super fucking ego and his inability to not just shut the fuck up and get the job done. Anyway, we're now back in the physical world. There's a huge fucking explosion with all the Shigaraki hands that were basically a big mass from the inside. Deku explodes. Bingo, bango, bongo. He comes out of that thing. And I didn't know at first if he was going to have arms or not. Surprise, no fucking arms. So now we're going to talk about him as Deku No Arms. Deku No Arms is on the ground and he gets pushed back. He's on his knees and he goes to get himself up on his feet again. And then we realize that this is no ordinary Deku. This is Deku No Arms. And he gets pushed back a little bit and his little arm nubs, they bleed all over the place. There's so much blood in this scene. it's so fucking gross. And I'm like, oh man, the whole time, all I could think to myself was, is this why the opening monologue for those first few seasons is like This is how I became the greatest hero in the world or whatever. And he's telling it from the perspective of somebody who's no longer the greatest hero, but was the greatest hero for at least a fucking minute until he lost his fucking arms and became Deku no arms. But I'm going to have to watch a sequel series in fucking 10 years where Deku no arms is teaching school. How the fuck is he going to point at the chalkboard if he's got no arms? Anyway, Deku no arms is about to get the fucking shit beat out of him by a one for all for one. God damn it. I've been doing good. I think that's like the second time I fucked it up out of like 6 potential shots. Not that I'll try to edit around them, but just so you guys know, I keep track. I'm trying to do better. And that's all we can really do. Just like fucking Otto Octavius said to Spider-Man in Spider-Man 2. Trying to do better. Anyway, Deku no arms is about to get his shit rocked. And all of a sudden, there is a little purple streak that goes across One for All's face. Fuck, I did it twice in a row. All for One's face. Is it like this little purple streak that you see over the top of his forehead? And when I first watched it, I took it as a he's reacting to something, like a reaction shot. And I'm not sure that that's what it was. I don't know, but it's Sero, Tape Man. Tape Man's taping this fucking bitch ass up and is about to save Deku for a second. And for a minute, I paused it when this happened, and I was like, holy fucking shit, let me write down my thoughts real quick. But like when he shows up, I'm like, this motherfucker of all the motherfuckers, Sero with his tape ass. And I had the thought, I'm like, they keep going back to like the inspiration for Deku and Shigaraki to continue to go down their own respective paths. One is a hero, one is a fucking true, I'm going to rock this world's asshole wide open villain and restart things. The people they inspired have been a driving force throughout the season, right? Or at least the last few episodes. And I love that. I'd like to include, because it's tough to include so many characters all the time, but if you can have those little references to them to remind you of the motivations of each respective character, that's helpful. But how fucking cool would it be if actually things get so down in the shit for Deku or Shigaraki, who presumably is now gone and All for One is just existing in its body, what's left of the body, because there was some damage done to it and they lost some quirks or whatever. They also lost decay and the ability to so cool. We lost the ability to decay. I think the world is mostly safe now. Now we just need to curb stomp this old bitch into fucking oblivion. How cool would it be if the heroes, meaning like Azuka Midoriya's friends, his classmates, teachers, whatever, what if they showed up? Also, what if the other villains showed up? Probably won't, because I feel like most of them have been jailed. So maybe I'm like wishing out of my shoes here, but it would be cool if both sides of the inspired scale, both good and bad, came forth to, fuck up the ultimate evil, which is the ultimate destruction of the world. We don't want to all get destroyed by this fucking psychopath who can't fucking help but put his own ego aside because he feels that he, in fact, is the world's biggest fucking winner to have ever lived and won't fucking die, even though he's lived for hundreds of fucking years and amassed millions and billions of fucking different quirks and resources and connections. I'm not thinking about the politics of the world of My Hero Academia. I'm just thinking about how cool this fight is. Let's take a break. All right, we're back. So I just talked about Sero hopping in to save the day, and I'm like, Sero of all the dudes? And you know what? Sure enough, he's joined by the rest of also these guys too. Squad, Ojiro and Sato, Sugarman and Tailman, I think their hero names are respectively. And it's just so cool that it's the first wave of reinforcements, and Deku is inspired, not only like saved, all right, he's saved for a second, but his first thought is, you guys are alive, you're okay. That's his first fucking thought, which I thought was really wholesome and very Deku coded, but also, yeah, dude, your boys are here. They heard you were still going, so they're still going too, even though everybody who's about to walk through endgame style is pretty fucked up, man. And this was kind of a frustrating moment in the episode for me, because once Sero, Sato, and Ojiro show up, another portal opens up, and I'm like, all right, this is very clearly a Kirigiri portal. Aizawa and Mike, MC Mike must have, or Present Mike, that's his name. Present Mike must have figured out how to get Kirigiri to work its warp gate quirk again. I don't know why that was so hard to say, but I got through it. Cool. So we're gonna warp gate in. What? Just the four of you? Aizawa with one fucking leg and one fucking eye. And I'm like, nah, we're Avengers Endgaming this shit. Everyone's about to warp in. And then it says, just cuts, and it's like 10 minutes later, or 10 minutes earlier, excuse me. And I'm like, motherfucker, if the rest of this episode is what happens the 10 minutes before this, I'm going to be pissed as fuck. You just got my dick rock hard, and for what? For a fucking flashback 10 minutes? Anyway, TSA by courtesy of Racerhead. Shortly after he and Present Mike were warped away by Kurogiri, Oboro Shirakumo's personality reemerged. So that's the original person that Kurogiri was before he was essentially turned into the first Nomu. His personality reemerged, allowing them to use Warp Gate freely again. He warps to the evacuation center, recruiting all the available heroes to clean up the remaining battles before joining up with Deku. I did just want to pause real quick because there is a scene where Kurogiri has warped them and they're like stuck on this rock in the middle of the ocean. And Mike is having like this fucking meltdown where he's like punching Kurogiri in the fucking face, just screaming at him. And then he just like kind of gives up for a second and he looks at Aizawa and he's like, we're 31 now. And I'm like, shit, 31. Yeah, you feeling old at 31, man. I get it. I'm 36. I don't know how I'm not dead. Either way, I just thought it was funny that they're 31 and he's having like this, we can't be teachers forever kind of crisis. And then Aizawa does the cool thing and turns it around. And he's like, if we're shepherding the fucking next generation of heroes to be the best heroes they can, that's cool, dude. That's what we fucking do. And then he, I don't know, erases Kurogiri for a second. Like his eye lights up red. I honestly don't understand what happened in that series of events, but like he holds up Kurogiri's face, uses his erase quirk, I believe, because his eye turns red. And then suddenly his fucking, you know, he gives him this speech, this monologue about remembering who he is and what they do now and who they were. And Kurogiri Warp Gate opens up. Very cool. So now we're going back to the UA shelter where there's still a bunch of heroes. And this is about to be fun because they get back. They're going to clean up the remaining battles before they go to join Deku. So there's a couple of battles. The one that Sato, Sero, and Sato, Sero, and Ojiro were handling in like the stadium or whatever. I didn't catch much of the guy that they were fighting. And I'm not sure if that's on purpose or if they're just trying to condense things. I imagine in the manga, they could have done a whole few chapters on this weird guy they had to fight in that stadium, but they finish that up and then they're going to get warped to the Deku fight. But they stop in to the UA stronghold to recruit additional heroes. And it's a follow-up to last week's episode where Eri was ready to go throw down and strap herself to Deku's back and remind him permanently so he could just use all for one, one for all. Motherfuck, that's like the fifth time. So he could use one for all at like an unlimited pace to not break his butt, whatever, you know, the overhaul fight. So it's a callback to that, but they go to recruit all the available heroes to clean up the remaining battles before joining up with Deku. He then reveals Eri's horn, which she had cut off, wanting him in any way so she can sing to them when the fighting is done. So she fucking cuts off her little horn. And the line that got me, not to cry, I didn't cry once in this episode, which I gotta be real, that's kind of rare for me. Most episodes, I should say, of My Hero Academia have at least one moment where I'm like, oh, that's beautiful, man. I didn't tear up one time. I was pretty amped the entire time. But this moment almost got me. I want to sing. And it calls back to her enjoying the school festival in season 4, I think. And how like she wants to instill that joy into other people. And so she wants to sing for people, which is just another example of what I said last week. Like La Brava and Gentle Criminal being in the background playing some pretty excellent you know, I don't want to say major, but like some pivotal roles in this whole story. It's a way to remind you, like, nothing in this story to this point has been for nothing. Okay. None of this was filler, even if it might have felt like filler while you were there. None of this was filler. Coda in the Woods was not filler. Gentle Criminal was not filler. The school festival where they fucking sing a goddamn song called Hero 2. I am a hero too. My heart is high and I won't back down. That wasn't filler either. Shout out to Kelly. I had a dream about Kelly the other day. I haven't talked to her in a few months, but I know that she loves that goddamn song and that part of the show. And seriously, the kids forming a band to sing at the fucking talent fucking show or whatever. That's the most filler ass shit in the world. Nope. It inspired Erie to rip off her fucking horn somehow so that way Deku can get his goddamn arms rewound. And then it's back to the fight. You do have that moment of realization that Deku has gotten rid of all of his quirks, but the vestiges of One for All, almost. The vestiges of One for All still remain in him like they did in All Might for the first few seasons. So he's still going to be able to contribute on the battlefield. I do wonder if it's just going to be, presumably it's just going to be like his strength and his ability to, punch things strongly, move quickly, whatever. Like he's going to go back to the first few seasons before he starts to inherit everyone else's quirks. I don't imagine any of those quirks are still going to remain within him outside of the original stuff that he had in the first few seasons. So he can still contribute on the battlefield. He has his arms back. Sick. Let's see if he breaks some fingers or whatever, flicking off some air missile, Air Force style or whatever it's called. Maybe he does some shoot style shit. I don't know, with his kicks. But this Avengers Endgame moment of everyone from Class 1A warping in to the battlefield to support Deku. I wish I didn't see Avengers Endgame before, just so I could enjoy this as its own separate thing. Anyway, I'm excited to see what happens next week. The preview, it's called Midoriya Izuku Rising. I said that shit in the Japanese tense, so it's going to be Izuku Midoriya Rising. And he basically references an ember remains of All for One. So cool. He's going to be able to fight again. All of his fucking boys are there, even though everyone, again, is super fucked up from the battles that they just did. Aizawa has one leg and seemingly no crutch, no artificial fucking limb, no nothing. He got a hole in his face where an eye used to be. No eye patch. He don't give a shit. He's just there. He's going to be hopping around the goddamn battlefield, erasing quirks or pausing them, whatever, as he goes. You didn't see President Mike come through the portal, but when he does, I'm sure he'll yell some shit real loud. But yeah, it's mostly 1A students to this point. Not everybody. I wish I'd actually written down who does come through the portal, but it's who's ever left. Whoever is left? Who's ever? Is that a word? It's whoever is left, okay? And this is about to be fun, and I do sort of wonder, again, as somebody who's not read the manga, so leave me the fuck alone and don't ruin it, but what is obviously we win, right? I say we like I'm a fucking class member of 1A, but obviously our protagonists will win somehow. What does it look like afterwards? Is Deku, I think he'll be alive. Does he have a quirk? Does he go back to being quirkless? Is the only reason he ever absorbed a quirk in the first place from All Might was to fucking play out this long, traumatic fucking string of events over the course of whatever, a year? His first fucking year of high school, kid's a growing boy. He didn't need this shit. And now he's just quirkless again. I thought they were going to make him go quirkless again without his fucking arms. And I'd be like, wow, what's the lesson here? Don't try to help people or else you lose your fucking arms. You lose the ability to help yourself. Wipe your own ass, take a piss, jerk off, feed yourself, whatever the fuck. Is that what the message is going to be here? But thankfully, we got the grace of Erie, who's able to rewind that type of stuff and just help us persevere. Hero 2, I am a hero too. My heart is high, I am high. I gotta get the fuck out of here. All right, so that's it for this week. I will talk with you guys again next week, I think. All right, I'm not going to make any specific promises, but to be real, I said it in the Patreon pre-show. I think a big part of why I fell off with podcasting earlier this year when Daima wrapped was because Daima was not very good. And it was fun to have new things to talk about each week and felt obligated to talk about as a Dragon Ball podcast, first and foremost. But it also kind of fucking bummed me out with how some of those things went. And plus Toriyama being dead. And, you know, I just got a lot of baggage around Dragon Ball right now, I guess. Hopefully that'll change soon and we'll get some more new stuff to talk about. But I want consistent new stuff, not short run new stuff that ends up being not very good stuff that makes me sad and depressed stuff. You know what I'm saying? Stuff. It is very cool to have some good anime to talk about in this final series of My Hero Academia. So, you know, time restrictions are obviously a thing. I do have other shit I have to do in my life, but I will continue to try to talk about every episode of this season as we go. It should be, I think, wrapped by the holidays. So I don't know if that's before Christmas or before New Year's, but not too many episodes of these left. So if you're enjoying it, like, subscribe wherever you're listening. I appreciate you listening. If you did like it, please, you know, tell your cool friends. Don't tell your fucking shitty friends. You know who your shitty friends are. Don't tell them. All right? And that's all I really have to say about this. Gonna raise my hand with the peace sign. Gotta go watch Major League. Charlie Sheen. And Wesley Snipes. He hates vampires and taxes.